Well, what was your view of God growing up?
When I was still like in
Yeah, when you were
Philippines.
still in the Philippines, you're still your formative years. Like, what was your view of God?
Yeah, so although I saw him as a loving father, I think I mostly saw him as a loving father, but I didn't think he was really involved that much.
So distant, you felt.
Yeah, because
Okay.
so there was a lot of things going on at home. So my dad is a player, and he has cheated multiple times on my mom, which caused my mom to, I see that now, a lot of stress, and she kind of took it on me. I've always, apparently, and this is reports from my parents too, this is not something I've just claimed and assumed, but my parents said so themselves, that between me and I have an older brother, between me and my brother, I'm the stronger one. And so my mom's, in my perspective as a child, it seemed like my brother always like kind of got away with stuff and didn't. I felt like my mom was always on my case
Right,
all the
yeah.
time, always angry at me, screaming at me. But I start to realize, like, as I work through our life and really thinking about my parents and what they went through, like, it was a very stressful time for them. But it does not excuse the behaviors that they displayed, because I learned later on that how my mom treated me, and like how my dad was in our family dynamics, really affected my mental health, and that's really contributed to a lot of abandonment issues and just feeling unloved, neglected, and never amounting to being good enough.
Yeah.
And so my view of God is the same, because there's some kind of YouTube that I saw that was actually really cool, or really weird, because it feels like it relates to us so much, that our parents, in a way, sometimes we really look up to them. The pictures is the picture in that video was super wild, because like it shows a baby worshiping the mom and the dad, but in a way that's
Sure.
how.
Yeah, your first view of God is formed by your parents.
Yeah.
I've heard it a lot, especially
Yeah.
like your father in your life, and if he's a certain way, and it's like, okay, God, especially if you're in a religious home, and then your father is like opposite of what a loving God should be, is like, well, God must be like that. I don't want any part of that. I've heard it before, and I've kind of seen it play out in people's life. But people have shared stories, and like, yeah, he was this way, or my parents were this way, and this is kind of how I put that back on God.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, and so that's, although like I said, I saw God as someone loving, I didn't really have much questions of like why was bad things happening to me until later when I was a teenager. But growing up until I was like 12, it was still, I guess this is just normal part of life, but it was super chaotic. I'll actually share just a little bit. There are three like key points in my life that has contributed to how I am today. And so one of my first like major betrayal from my parents was from my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna share the details, but
That's fine,
basically,
yeah.
yeah, I don't want to.
Okay.
It makes me cry, and something I still
Yeah.
have to work through, like in my own personal time. But so basically, like I really experienced betrayal, feeling like, oh, I really don't have this person to rely on. That's when just knowing that, oh, he can't be there for me, because he did something that just basically, like, I was thrown into this conflict, and
Between you and his mom and your
there
mom.
was a conflict within the community that
Oh,
we were
okay.
living at the time. And then because my dad was having some relations with someone, and apparently I'm the one, I was spreading rumors and lies, and they were having like this big meeting with like the woman's husband and some of her children, and then my dad there,
Yeah.
some other people, like,
Wow.
to clarify. And basically I felt so betrayed, because my dad like didn't defend me. In fact, he's the one who said, tell them that you were just spreading lies and rumors.
That's
But it's not a lie.
crazy.
Yeah, because and the thing is, I try to be not an assuming person,
Yeah.
because later on, like, I like to prove things with facts. Like if someone was to tell me, oh my gosh, did you hear about blah blah blah, I don't believe those people until, or I don't.
Review it for yourself. You don't take it
Yeah.
at face value. Trust but verify.
Yeah, because that's not fair to the other person, right? So I'm always like that. I'm always checking the facts. And so later on, I went back home, crying and just, I guess I was traumatized at that time probably because I was like, I think 9 years old. And so to go through that adult stuff, like,
Yeah,
is
that's
heavy
wild.
for like for a 9-year-old kid. But then I remember like I was just covered up under my blankets, and my dad and his friend came in the room and they were just talking. They thought I was sleeping. And I heard his friend say, "So are you gonna admit it?" And then my dad said no. So that confirms that,
That's not a loving father.
yeah, no, not at all. So it's like so for me, that was the day that I lost him. That I knew that I can't trust this person. Therefore, I can't trust anyone. That's when I started thinking I can't trust anyone
Yeah.
at all.
No, that's tough to go through at
Yeah.
9 years old. So did that start to cloud kind of your, because there's this tension, like you got his loving father, but also he was kind of distant, basically.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I didn't think he was
He
involved.
was involved because all
'Cause-
this was happening, but you're like,
Yeah.
if God was involved, like why would my dad cheat on my mom, or he would put me out
Yeah.
to hang me to dry, like that.
But I didn't really it didn't really bother me. I didn't
Right.
really I didn't really think of like why God, why at that
Yeah,
time.
that
Not
time.
until later.
Not until later.
Not
Okay,
until
so
I got
then
older.
let's fast forward then to you're older, and you're living in the States now. When you're older, when did you move to
Like
America?
when 19.
19.